maybe since we've been doing the show, really,
Yeah.
that I've realized how much of an impact it has on the employee experience. Welcome back, folks. This is episode 150. Moving a long time. Oh, I just heard it. Anyway, I'll let you know. But we are doing the role of payroll in employee experience and retention today. But before we get it, how you doing, Walt?
I'm good, man. How about you? Hey, I'm just letting the people know that Brian's birthday just
Oh,
passed. By the time you hear that, it would
it'll
have
be
already
like a
been like a
week.
week or
Yeah, yeah,
two.
yeah, yeah.
But
Thanks,
look, man,
bro.
wish my
Thanks.
brother a happy birthday, man. He's been
Appreciate you.
doing his thing. Seems like
Appreciate
he's
you.
the Benjamin Button thing going on a little bit here,
Yes,
whatever.
I like that. I like that. I'm in the gym now. I need to drop some weight, get
Yeah, man. Look,
strong. I'm getting
it's-
old, so you gotta get strong. Gotta get serious about our health as we get older.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got to stay healthy. Fit in our minds, fit in our
Yes,
finances,
yes.
fit in our in every way.
Every way is
Yeah,
a
bro.
fitness challenge.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
I was gonna.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I just heard a time statement today. I was at my daughter's dance class, and I think somebody said days are long, but years go quick. Something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, yeah, that sounds right. Because it's
That's
just goes quick, man. And I want to be more intentional about like planning trips because I'll go next year. But guess what? You got to start like now if you want to do something in a year. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Take
Yeah,
opportunity now.
yeah. Even us, bro. We should do once a year.
Yes, sir.
Work,
We
cool out.
we talked about it.
Yeah, yep. And we same thing though. We got to be intentional, plan it,
Yes, sir.
and we ain't got to get crazy with the expenses. We go somewhere chill where we could
Bro.
actually maybe like a even like a podcasters because they have them workshops and stuff like
Yes,
that.
sir. Hey, go connect with other
Go
people.
connect
Yeah,
with
yeah.
other folks, stay at the wherever
Sure.
it is for
Sure.
do some team building amongst us too. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, little stuff like that, man. Then go to the Super Bowl because we talked about going to the Super Bowl one day. We got to do that.
Yeah, I
I'm
definitely want
down
to do
for
that,
that.
man. One day.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And look, something that I've never done that I've always wanted to do,
Mhm.
and every time I say it, people always like, "Oh my god, you've never done that?" I've never tailgated.
Me neither.
Really? Oh, see,
Me
we can
neither.
do that then,
Yeah.
bro.
Well, not at a football game. No, I don't think no, I don't think I've ever no, nowhere.
See,
Yeah. Yeah, that we could do that too. It's crazy because we were gonna do that at a football game a couple years ago, but because they know you tailgate, they charge the car $300 to park in a specific area that's for tailgating, and
wow.
I was like, "What?" We were like, "Yo, how much?" "Oh, forget it." If it's a big planned out thing, then you split
Oh yeah,
amongst
yeah,
cars. Hey, we 4
yeah,
in a car, and then you could split it and la la but wow, okay.
yeah, bro.
And that's what led us to the other ideas we had with sports and entertainment and stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is still
Yes, sir.
relevant, more to come, but
Yes,
man,
sir.
let's get it all into it, man. Where we at? What we got today?
The fitness financial fitness challenge. Any
Let's
updates
see.
for us, man?
So this was good because on a business level, yes, on the payroll tip, we continue to trim our
Mhm.
oversubscription stuff on our business stuff. So
Yep.
we're doing some savings there. I'll claim it right now. I made a commitment to myself that I will take my CPP next fall, probably no, next spring, probably either fall or spring, depending on how the deals go.
Early
But
next year, yep.
but definitely, because I for a time I was just like I was on the fence, right? We even talked about it on the show many times, and finally I
Yeah.
was like, no, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna take the prep course. There's a prep course they get that one of the courses have a guarantee pass,
Yep.
provided you follow the steps and the criteria. Um, I was like, dang, 20 years in, 20 plus years in, and a prep course. Come on,
Yep.
I should be fine. So I'm gonna do that, and I think that's part, not so much directly financial fitness challenge, but I think it's just something that
It is, right?
kind of yeah.
Because then it
Well,
may
that's
help your
true.
finances
That's
later
true.
on
Yeah, it should
and different
elevate
opportunities,
my
right?
opportunities as a payroll professional. It should. Yeah, man. That's about it. But what about you?
Man, just doing the same thing, just continuing to save, even if it's a little bit of money, like
That's it.
10, 20, $30 here or
Matters.
there,
Yep.
putting it away, investing it. Recently decided to, as far as my meals, like I recently decided, hey, I'm gonna start meal prepping
Mhm.
more
Okay.
and just have my lunch and my dinners. And like you were speaking to earlier about working out, like I realized that I was not eating enough. I wasn't consuming enough calories.
Oh,
So I wasn't burning. So I was eating like I was only eating like one meal a day and
so you're
like trying to lose weight
starving
that
your
way.
body, yeah.
Yeah. And so my body's in starvation mode. So it wasn't burning anything. It was storing stuff.
Storing. Yep.
Right, and so now that I'm eating more, my metabolism is getting back up and
Yeah.
everything like that. So just doing those different things, and it just I realized that us starting this financial fitness challenge has impacted me in other areas of my life because what's that saying? You say how
How you
you
do
do
anything is how
anything,
you do everything. Exactly
everything.
what I started to think about.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's dope. All right, cool. Take us into your news update for today.
It's a quick news update. Shout out to our segment, True Payroll
Oh,
Crimes.
of course.
So
Gotta
this is
do
one
one
of
soon.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a Chinese HR manager who ran a payroll scam that lasted for 8 years.
Wait, in China?
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, and so over that 8-year span, he created 22 fake employees.
Ghost employees.
Yep. So the scam siphoned 16 million yuan over the 8 years, so it's equivalent of $2.2 billion.
Million, not billion. Million.
Million, yeah.
2.2. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How did they not catch this?
I don't know if he was in charge of the payroll, so he and he worked for a tech firm.
That
Yep.
explains the good numbers. Wow. But it's a
Yep.
communist. Did they put him to death or something? Like,
No, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the embezzlement, and he was also fined and stripped of his political rights for a year.
wow. Wow. That goes to show you. And it doesn't matter. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's lack of oversight,
Yeah, bro.
there is opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's a good one.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
good one. All right. So for mine, I was doing research and stuff and then I got caught up with because I always hear it on the news. The non-farm payroll increased
Yes,
by
yes, yes, yes. Mhm.
151,000. And I'm like, I know what it means, but what does it really mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would like to define that. So I'm going to define the non-farm payroll. So basically, as of February 25th, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that total non-farm payroll employment increased by 151,000. In and of itself, I was like, and it says maintaining a consistent growth trend. All right, that's cool. But I was like, what does that mean? So if I may, I would like to
Yeah.
define it for folks. I should have copied it over, but I have it here. Let me see. So it says in non-farm payroll employment signifies that more jobs have been added to the US economy, including excluding specific sectors such as farming, private households, proprietors, nonprofit employees, and active military personnel. So that's why it says the non-farm payroll is a key indicator of economic health as it reflects the number of paid workers in the economy and accounts for approximately 80% of the workforce, contributing to the gross domestic product, the
Mhm.
GDP. Implications of non-farm public employment increase is economic growth, consumer spending, monetary policy, and financial markets. So those are the things that they use. That's what it all is. There's a lot that goes into that
Gosh,
little
yeah, bro.
statement. You know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
what I was like, well, I don't want to act like I know what this means. I can't report on it because I've always been tempted to report on it, right? Because they say non-farm
Mhm.
payroll. So payroll, I'm like, wait, I should be reporting this, but I don't really understand it. So
Yep.
this is a little better. Okay, now I know the factors that go in. So for all of us,
Nice.
just sharing for those of us who might not know as well. Yeah. Well, so basically, in summary, an increase in non-farm payroll employment is a positive sign of economic health, influencing consumer behavior, monetary policy, and financial markets. But man, I guess they needed that piece because it ties in so much to the economy right now. Because Eesh, people aren't feeling positive.
No,
And
not at all.
pockets are getting hurt, and that is in the news. Even though this is good news and good stuff, and it's just something to play in. And wait a minute, but it was more to find that piece, not
Look,
banter on
bro,
how
like,
what it means to, but it could
and
spark that conversation also.
yeah, people are really feeling it out there. And look, I went to Costco over the weekend, and eggs was on the list of things for us to get. And by the time we went, there were no
There
eggs
was no eggs?
at all. Nope.
See, and I've seen horrible videos of people going there and trying to buy the eggs from there, like, by the boatload, by those little
Yeah.
cart loads, and it's like,
Yeah.
people get ridiculous with it with the eggs. I heard or I saw another report that restaurants are starting to use the egg substitute because of this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, bro. All right, man. What we gotta do now? Pay the bills?
Yes, we're gonna pay the bills. So, shout out to TimeTrakGO. Are you looking for a more efficient way to manage employee time? TimeTrakGO is the solution. TimeTrakGO turns an ordinary tablet into a state of the art time clock in minutes. And with its mobile app and web portal, employees can clock in from anywhere. But wait, it gets better. TimeTrakGO also automates PTO and simplifies time off requests, making life easier for both you and your team. Stop wasting time with outdated systems.
You heard what they said. Stop wasting time with those outdated systems. But guess what? TimeTrakGo has a special offer for our It's About Payroll listeners. So right now, they are offering an additional 50% off your first 2 months.
Fitty.
So just head over to www.timetrakgo.com/IAP.
Sir.
That's www.timetrakgo.com/IAP and start your 14-day free trial today and
Today.
claim this special offer. Let's go.
Go.
All right, man. Let's get into this main topic we got here, bro.
Yes, sir. I forgot to organize my screen a little better here. Here we go. Roger that. Okay. Boom. All right. So again, main topic is the role of the employee experience, or I'm sorry, the role of payroll in the employee experience and retention. And this came up in one of the shows, and we were like, "Whoa, we got to do a whole show on this because it's,
Yeah.
it's." I don't think payroll. I don't know if do we all realize like the importance of it. I didn't. I'll be honest. Like in my first 15 years, I think it's become more maybe just since we've been doing the show, really,
Yeah.
that I've realized how much of an impact it has on the employee experience. Because before that, yeah, just I didn't. Yeah, you impact some employees, but you don't really think it's a general thing. You don't realize that employees
Mhm.
talk, right? If one person gets their check wrong, they're going back to their group and they're like, "Yo, my check
Yep.
was wrong again," and blah blah blah.
Yes.
And then the
Yep.
stat that Walt found for us that after the second error in a paycheck, folks start looking for new jobs. So it's, oh, wait a minute. And meeting folks like Adrian Resto, Payroll is Life, and kind of
Yeah.
the different views. So again, I didn't realize it until we started doing this show. And uh so I'll go over my notes, and again, we're talking about the role of payroll in the experience and how it impacts employee sense of security, trust,
Yep.
satisfaction within the organization. And the way
Yep.
payroll is managed can either enhance or damage the employee morale, engagement, and retention. So here are a few
Yep.
things that play into that again, we may not think about so easily and maybe downplay it. Oh no, my job is not that serious, or it's not like that.
Mhm.
No, it really is. So the number one thing is financial security and trust. Employees rely on their payroll for financial stability. I do want to mention the
What?
and this is a good spot for it, but accurate and timely pay builds trust and demonstrates that the company values its workforce. Mistakes, late payments, or discrepancies can cause financial strain and erode confidence in the company.
Yep.
So one of the things I think about there is quickly we make up the payment, right? Like we do need to try to stick to some rules, and we can't be willy nilly and be like, oh, through just constantly running off cycles. That's not necessarily the solution because some of this stuff is on the employees and their managers to get right. Because like
I understand
we
that.
nail our part, but if we don't know that something was
Oh, so right now we're saying, I guess broadly, we're just saying that payroll mistakes, which are kind of encompassing all sorts of.
Yes.
error. So it could be an internal
Yep.
payroll mistake or a mistake that was made by the like
Their
you
manager
spoke to,
or
their manager
themselves.
or the employee,
Yeah.
right?
But they
Because it
don't
does
think of
happen.
yeah, they don't think about that. They just it's a mistake and I hear I'm mad.
Yep.
And then if you tell them no, so anywho, just like keeping that in perspective. But one of the things I do want to point out here, folks, payroll is important. We are, and that's the existence of all of our shows and in the space proves that. The fact that
Yeah.
we're still doing this 2, 3 years later now,
Yeah.
it proves that. But I don't. But I see some posts. I saw a post recently that was a little too much. They were like, I impact people's lives and I make sure that they get to pay their bills and live their life. And yes, you play a role in it, but we're carrying out a task that because you do a job and the job agreed to pay you, we're carrying out a function.
Look,
It,
I I agree with you. I
y-
understand where you're
don't
going,
over, don't
but
overly,
but
don't
look,
gas your head up too much, is what I'm
I
saying. Like I
but
get,
I like the fact that people gas their heads up because for so long in payroll, how many of us have heads down, do the work, don't raise your voice, don't speak up, don't say anything, and speaking to that payroll confidence that we just talked with Pete about,
yeah.
right? And so I understand where you're coming from, but I think having that confidence in what you do and realizing it, like maybe they realized it sooner than we did. And at their point in their career, they're like, hey, I realize this now because for a long time, I was just, I feeling like I'm just doing a job. I'm
Me
just
too.
plugging away.
Agreed. No, I think, but it's got to be balanced, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I like I don't I guess don't overly do it to the point where you're getting arrogant and you're like,
I'm God.
I'm God, yeah.
I'm a payroll guy.
You wouldn't be able to live your life if it wasn't for me. Your breaks, yeah. Relax. Because
Yes,
you could get swapped out and somebody else gonna come do the job. You know what
I'm
I
the
mean?
payroll.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So let's take it easy. Like
Yeah.
keep it for me, balance is key, right? So that don't
Yeah.
get too crazy, but then
I got
also
you.
don't
I
be
got
too
you.
humble either and not claim your wins and claim your impact on what
Mhm.
we do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't wanna throw it out there because I saw a post recently that was like, "You're bugging." But, so number 2 is compliance and transparency. Properly handling taxes, benefits, deductions ensures that employees feel protected and their employers complying with labor laws. Taxes rings a bell right now where we're at, and we're about a month away from tax deadline.
Yeah.
And people are starting to this is the time where kinda payroll is a big conversation because they like to unfortunately, folks tend to blame payroll on their under withholding of taxes. They're not thanking
Yeah.
us when they over withheld and they get a big check back. How come you don't send us kudos for that? Why? Because it has nothing to do with us.
And more so, there's the lack of understanding there. There's a lack of understanding from the employee's part, like about how that works. I marked single zero, but you also check the exempt box on your
Mhm.
tax form.
Or currently, since they changed the new one, checking head of household cause
Yep.
under
Uh,
withholdings,
yep. A
right?
lot of people didn't realize that. Yep. It's a great call out.
And yours as well, because being exempt, we as payroll professionals used to have to report that to IRS. That is no longer a thing anymore. You ain't gotta do that. We're gonna take care of them directly. We'll take care of that. To your point, you check in exempt, you check in head of household, you check like you're being slick so that you can get more money in your paycheck. But then at the end of the
Mhm.
year, when you gotta pay, you're like, oh, this is payroll's fault. No, this is
Mhm.
your fault because it's on you. There's no way we could know what your taxes should be. We
Yep.
can help you fill out forms, meaning, hey, if you click that, this is going to happen. If you click that, shout out to Gerard Hall because he really put that fire in us to be like, be better at customer service in that area. And I have
Yeah.
been since that. I've shied away from the whole, you need a CPP, I can't help you. It's still in my script, but I do also mix in, "Hey, I can help you to an extent." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's a balance to it. So again, with the compliance and transparency, providing clear and easy to understand pay stubs increases transparency and reduces confusion. around pay calculations. And that's a great call out was we've seen that firsthand with folks that
Yep.
come to us like, I don't know my pay stub. On our other show, we just had a friend of mine that in the nursing biz that expressed his confusion with it and his like, yeah, it gets crazy. And sometimes I get confused. It's real. That is real. And there are ways to make that better. And California leads the pack in pay stub compliance and transparency. So if you want to get compliant and do it right, default to how California does it. And then when employees feel confident that their payroll is handled correctly, they focus more on their work rather than stressing over pay issues. We talk about that all the time.
That's true.
Wall
Yep.
finds that, again, going back to the stats that Wall helps us with. Number three is onboarding. It's onboarding too, but onboarding and first impressions. Payroll's often the one of the first touch points in an employee's journey because you get paid and you're filling this out and to be filling that W-4 out properly.
Yep.
So a smooth onboarding experience, including accurate tax setup, benefit enrollment, direct deposit, and
Yep.
employees' confidence in the companies and professionalism is important. And I can give you an example of direct deposit. One that's many upon a times, folks would say, like new hires would say, "Oh, I didn't get my check," or rather, "I didn't get direct deposit." But I filled it out. I put my information in there. And it's a new complaint because some systems validate in real time, but it depends on
Mhm.
the bank to get real time validation. It has nothing to do with what anybody else is doing. It's the bank that will validate the technology that's validating it in real time. So
Yeah.
you sometimes you get complaints like, why did I get a live check? I put my information in because there's a process and it literally popped up on the screen when you entered it that it did not validate in real time. And it's going to take a pre-note process.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I
look,
mean?
I think that has something to do with the attention span these days too. It's just
Oh,
like
heck yeah.
sometimes people are just scrolling through hitting
Tick,
buttons.
tick, tick, tick,
Okay,
tick, tick.
I'm not really reading what's on the screen. Okay, it just says okay. I hit okay.
Bro, I promise you, half the stuff I know about systems is because I don't click past those screens quickly and read them. You know what I mean? As a payroll professional, hopefully we're all not in that category of just clicking through screens without reading them. Because I always tell folks I work with in training to, hey, hold on, read the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So again, number three was onboarding and first impressions. And errors during onboarding, like missed pay periods, incorrect tax withholding, create
Yep.
early doubts in the company ability to, about the
Even like
capabilities.
and like you said, even if it's not the payroll
Yes.
department's fault, they still
Yep.
are going to feel like, hey, you guys still messed up my pay.
Because some folks will be like, I always have problems. And then you go look and be like, you just got hired. What do you mean? You always have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is so it's a good eye openers for us because we do need to be like if you want to be sensitive to employee experience, right? And we just did a webinar a couple weeks ago about how to grow as a payroll professional. So this is a really good one to
Mhm.
these little things. Like if you take these little things seriously, it will as a payroll pro because
Yes,
you're
sir.
showing your customers that you care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number four is benefits and total compensation understanding. Payroll serves as a good foundation for communicating total rewards, bonuses, stocks, and things like that kind of falls on us. Because again, remember, like they get a paycheck. The first people they're going to call if they have questions is payroll. Even though we
Yeah.
may not have all the answers, that's so if you stretch and learn about these things and you're able to help your customers, you are able to grow because now you're like a one
Yeah.
stop shop payroll pro.
Yep.
Employees need to see a clear reflection of their comp and benefit package to appreciate their full value.
Mhm.
Total rewards, that could be another show topic as well, is how does total rewards look? How does that number look? Because it's not total rewards is basically putting dollar amounts on things that are not a cash payment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's I do like that. I don't know what enhancement improvement in the last few years that and payroll plays an impact in that because they need those numbers usually. And then offering easy access to the pay data through self-service portals and mobile apps enhances the employee experience as well. Number five is motivation and performance. Timely payments of bonuses, commissions,
Yep.
incentives reinforces positive behavior and motivation. And that's real too, because you're quick to get,
Yep.
hey, I didn't get that bonus that I was supposed to get.
I got that bonus through my work, and now it seems like in some people's minds, they might feel like, "Oh, you guys are I've had an employee say this to one of my employees, "You guys are punishing me."
Wait,
Yeah,
because they didn't get it or it was late or
'cause because they didn't receive a bonus payment, and come to find out in the situation, we never got a communication to pay
that's what I
any
was just gonna
bonus,
say. Yeah, it's the
and
downside of those things, those one-off
you know what I'm
deals.
saying?
Yep.
And so this person was like, "Hey, until I get my bonus, I'm not doing anything," and which impacted productivity,
Yes.
and they made a big riot, like, "Hey, I told my boss already, and she knows, and this and that," and look, it can really impact motivation and performance. It really can, and which impacts the company.
Yep. Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. So, number 6 is flexibility and modernization. Payroll tech is aligns with modern workforce expectations for convenience and flexibility. I think right away of TimeTrakGO, right? You got antiquated, like I still come across companies that are doing it on paper, are doing
Mhm.
Excel, are doing it in the
Yeah.
email, doing it on a phone. Somebody told me recently, "Oh, doesn't that just get called in?" And I was like, "Oh, heavens no."
You're talking about I still fax mine.
I still send mine on a carrier pigeon
For real.
on the crow.
Yeah.
So offering also as a part of flexibility and modernization, offering flexible pay options like EWA, early wage access, or multiple payment methods enhances employee experience.
Yep.
That also makes me think of companies that you have the capability of doing as many direct deposits. I think one company goes up to like 8 direct deposits that accounts that you could have, but it's a client, it's the company's prerogative. So they're like, no, I will just give them 2, give them 1. Like, why would you do that? It's not bothering us or
Yeah.
you. If they want to split it into 8, and I've seen employees do that. Like they split
Yeah,
it up and
absolutely.
right, they got
Yeah.
kids, they give $25 into that kid's
Kids,
account and
they have an account that's
a
strictly for
vacation.
certain
Yep.
bills or whatever, and they want a certain amount to go there to cover these bills
The
and stuff.
building fund,
Yep.
from this from a building fund, so all that. Number
So,
7, and the last one before I pass it off to Paul, is conflict resolution and support. I wasn't gonna speak at this in first. I was like, whatever, they know. But no, this is a good one because the
mhm,
way when issues arise, the payroll team's responsiveness and ability to resolve problems quickly affect employee satisfaction.
absolutely.
That's what made me keep this little point. Oh, no, that's a good one. And is the payroll team approachable? Are they solution oriented? Are they proactive? Because that means they can trust them and it the employees' frustration when they know that they're gonna get a solution from their payroll person. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, yes.
Look, and a lot of the stuff you had is stuff I was gonna talk about anyway, so I don't have much to add to that. But just a few stats here.
Okay.
So, a study by Business Dasher found that 25% of all workers have experienced a payroll check error. So, of all workers that ever worked, 25%
A
have
big
had,
number.
yeah,
A big number. When you're talking about workforce, that's a
yeah.
big number.
And so, and Paycom had a report that businesses using a traditional payroll process can expect a 20% error rate, which kind of coincides with that first step,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so Business Dasher is that stat that we always use is that 49% of all workers would start to look for a new job if they had 2 paycheck errors, right? Which is a lot.
That is a lot. No, that is a lot.
And so that you were speaking to, the only thing I had written down here was like poor customer service, poor communication, and poor work ethic. If a payroll team has any of those,
Oh gosh, yes.
then you're doing yourself and your business or your company a disservice,
This
right?
true.
Because look, you're gonna get a call from an angry employee, a sad employee, upset in some way employee, right? And it's up to you to try to navigate those conversations, right?
Mhm.
So if you are going back and forth with an employee and you're getting mad and you're yelling because they happen to be raise their voice at you. Now, look, I'm not telling you to tolerate any verbal abuse and
Mhm.
threats or anything like that. But if a person's like upset and angry and you can hear that, try to use better ways of communicating. Listen.
Yes.
I remember there's been conversations I've had personally with somebody just going off on me, calling me out of my name, and you guys are so effing stupid and this and that. Oh my god, like just going off, and then I let them vent. I told him, I said, I just want to, I'm just listening to you. I just want to let you get it all out and then go from there.
Yeah.
But some people can't take that in payroll.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one time I worked at a PEO and one of my coworkers was just going at it. back and forth. You MFer and this and that, like, oh, that's like
To the
talking to
customer?
them. Yes, bro.
Oh,
Don't
no,
you
no,
dare
no.
disrespect me. And look, the person did disrespect her and called her out her
But there's a
name.
way to do that without being like, without
Yeah,
matching that energy.
yeah.
You know what I
So
mean?
look, you can transfer the call, you
Yep.
can hang up, you can transfer the call, you can do whatever you want. Say, hey, I'm gonna let you speak to my manager and let them handle it. And then poor work ethic. If the payroll processor has poor work ethic, then they're not checking for any errors. They're doing the bare minimum just to get by, just to get their
Just
paycheck.
to get Yep.
That can have downstream impact for the company and for the employee, which can impact the employee's experience and impact employee retention as well. So that was pretty much it. I just had those simple things. And before we close it out, man, the question of the day that I have for you: do you think that you need to be a people person to work in payroll?
Before I answer that, I wanna go just touch back because you made me think of the whole 25% of all workers experience paycheck errors and how,
Yeah,
how we saying that's a lot. Well, not only you may not think it's a lot, but that's what, 1 in 4 people, right?
yeah,
So, it's not a terrible stat in and of itself, but the bad part it is for payroll, it is a bad stat. But now it's more because they're gonna go back and tell the other 3 people how bad their experience was. And then it makes them
yeah.
question, "Wait, am I getting my check wrong too?" I've had happen. Folks call, "My check is wrong. What's wrong about it?"
Look,
"Oh, my coworker's having problems, so mine must be wrong too."
I've seen it. I've seen it to the extreme of where someone was so upset because a mistake did happen on their pay, and they went and they called
Every
everybody at the location and said, "Hey, you guys need to check your this and check that." And a couple people getting terminated because of the situation. Because yes, bro, because the person they ended up leaving
Oh,
rather.
oh,
So they ended up leaving because of that person putting a bug in their ear, and they were already frustrated. Hey,
wow.
and look, the manager was like, "Hey," they were already like straddling the fence anyway. They
Yeah,
were,
yeah, they're on
no,
the
they
yeah,
weren't
yeah,
here, so this is just that extra push that they needed to get them out the door.
yeah. Yeah, and it goes back to the stat, right? The 2
Yeah.
errors and stuff. So, yeah, so good stuff. So, you need to be a people person in payroll. I think it depends. It's funny you asked this because I just read a post from Davita Lara, who rock star in the payroll world. She's probably one of the only rock stars I could think of out there that we haven't had on the show yet. So, I'm thinking about, reaching out to her and whatnot. She just posted something about learning early on that payroll was about people. Look, I think yes, with the only exception is if you have a big team and your role, you can defer your role, that people part to someone else, then, maybe you can get away with not being a people person. But what do
Look,
you think?
I don't think so. I don't think you need to be a people person
Oh,
to no, because everybody has different personalities, right? I
okay.
think you need to know how to communicate.
There, okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. All right.
If you know how to communicate, then you could be
That's
friendly
true.
enough,
That's true. You can
right?
be friendly if it's like a scripted kind of
Yes, yes.
persona that you
Mhm.
on, 'cause you don't have to, but you do have to engage with people enough and have to,
I agree.
okay, I get that. I get that. You don't have to really be a people person, but you're gonna deal with people and you don't have to be a people person, but you gotta know how to deal with people
Yes, you gotta know how to
politely,
deal with people and communicate with
communicate,
people.
yes, and that the
Yes,
communication is the key. You're
yeah.
spot on with that because you avoid a lot of things if you can communicate well to them, then there are no
Because I could be a people person all day. I may
and
not
still
know how
be
to talk. I
you
may not know how to speak
you maybe
to an
suck
employee.
at the customer service part. That's right. That's
Or
true.
I suck on the communication part because
Right.
I can't explain to an employee, "This is how your pay works." "What is FICA?" "It's the 2 taxes." Both of them taxes added together, right?
That
Yeah,
doesn't help. That you didn't like, that's not what they're asking, you know what I mean?
yeah,
You're right. Yep, good call out. Yeah,
yeah.
I
What
like
makes up
that.
my 401k? The 4 plus the O, the 1 gives you the
It
1K.
gives you the K.
Yeah, there you go. 401 equals K. There you go.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Folks, Walt leaves us on a perfect point today. Just you gotta be good at communicating.
Yep.
And that solves a lot of issues because we don't wanna curse our customers. We don't want to lose with our customers. It's not that serious. You got to
Yeah.
understand the piece. This is their check. This is their livelihood. You do play an important role. Don't
Yeah.
overplay your hand, but don't underplay it either.
Yeah.
And we got to treat our customers like it. Customer service is a big piece of it. It's a pillar for me in payroll, and for it should be for all of us. And yeah, good
Mm,
stuff, bro.
good stuff.
Yes, sir. I think till the
All right.
next time, folks. We love you.
Peace.
Peace.
Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok.
Thank you for being part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.